The bill for the repair of your bike was $180. The cost of the parts was $105. The cost of labor was $25 per hour. How many hours did the repair work take? So there's 2 units. You need to write them right here. Dollars and hours. Hours is X. Dollars is Y. So the dollars per hour rate is 25. That is my M value. So you need to make your B plus MX equals Y line. Okay, so M is 25. And then before the $25, you had to pay for your part, which is 105. So your B is 105. Okay, no formulas needed, and you have to say that's your equation for the cost. 105 plus 25x equals y. Okay, so $180 is my y. Okay, so we replace the y with 180. So 105 plus 25x equals 180. Okay, so x is multiplied by 25, so I subtract 105 from both sides, so that's 0, and then I have 25x equals 75. Divide by 25, 25, 50, 75, it's 3. So 3 hours. Okay, number 2, I have a gift card at, supposed to say at Subway. After buying 4 subs, my gift card has $50. After I buy 10 subs, my gift card has $20. How many total subs can I buy with this gift card before it reaches $0? That means from the time it's full. Okay, this is what I'm asking to be more specific. So I've got dollars and subs. And this, whatever you're buying is X, and then the cost is Y. The cost is always dependent on what you're buying. So per dollars per sub. Now I don't know my dollars per sub, so I don't know my M value. So I go to my Y minus Y divided by X minus X, because there is a M value. Okay, now pay attention. Your Y is dollars and the X is subs. So your dollars have to go on top. So I have $50 minus $20. 50 minus 20 on top. And then the subs, I take 4 minus 10. So on top I have $30 and I have negative 6 subs, so I divide that and I get negative 5. So my M value is negative 5. Okay, it's okay that I got a negative, which makes sense because if you look at the money, it's going down. So B plus MX equals Y. So my M is negative 5. Okay, now I don't know my B value, so I have to use my Y equals M times X plus B. Okay, so get rid of your Y, M, and X. And your M you already have, that's negative 5. Now for Y and X, you do your combo. Okay, it's got to be in the same sentence. 4 subs, $50. You can also do 10 subs and $20. It's not going to matter. I usually pick the first one. So subs is X. Money's Y. Okay, so $50 is Y, and then I take my negative 5 times 4, and that's negative 20 plus B. Remember, your B is multiplied by 1, okay, not 20. So you don't have to divide. You just have to move the 20 with the 50 by adding it. 70 equals B. You don't need to divide by 1. So my B is 70. Okay, so my equation is 70 plus negative 5x. You can put minus 5x if you want, equals Y. And then the $0 replaces the Y variable because that's money. So 70 plus negative 5x equals 0. Now solve for x. You subtract your 70. That's negative 70. Then I divide by negative 5. That's a positive. That's 14. So 14 subs. You shouldn't get negative for any answer you put down here. If you do, you're doing something wrong. Okay, number 3, adult tickets to a play cost $22. Tickets for children cost $15. Tickets for a group of 11 people cost $228. How many children, how many adults were in the group? So you have 3 units this time, so I go to my table to make a system. So you got adults, children, together. And then how many, the money per, the money total. Okay, the money total together is $228. So you need to ditch that. Okay, how many? That's not money amount. I see 11 people, but I don't see if it's adults or children. So together there's 11 people. So that's X and that's Y. Okay, so adults cost $22 and the children cost $15. And now, so I have this equation, X plus Y equals 11, then I have 22X and 15Y equals 228. So you make your system, X plus Y equals 11, then 22X plus 15Y equals 228. Okay, so I have a 22 down there, so you got 22, 1, 1, 1. So that's going to be 22x plus 22y, and then I take 11 times 22. That's $242. And then the bottom just remains the same. It's the identity property of multiplying. Okay. Okay, negative, negative, that makes 7y. And that makes 14. So I divide both sides by 7 and y equals 2. So there's my y, and that's children. So there's 2 children. And then if you know there's 11 together, you can just subtract the 2, and it's 9. So 2 children, 9 adults. Okay, number 4. An animal shelter has 25 more cats than dogs. Food for the dogs costs $6 per package. Food for the cats costs $5 per package. The shelter spends $246 for all animals. So just cats and dogs, okay, is all they have at this place. How many of each package do they purchase? So there's 3 units. And your units are cats and dogs. And then together. Then how many, the amount per, and the amount total. Okay, so the amount total is 246 together, so you know you're going to have an equation you have down there. And non-money amounts I have 25, but it says more. It's not together then, okay? So don't put it there. You put X plus 25 in one of them and X in the other. So 25 more cats. I write the expression X plus 25 and then dogs right there. Okay, the amount per, so the dogs are $6 per package and the cats are $5 per package. So you're going to have the expression 6X for the total cost for dogs. For the cats, you need to distribute the 5 to both X and 25. So that's 5X plus 125, and then write your equation. 5X plus 125 plus, actually don't write that, add your x's together, 11x. They're on the same side of the equation, so you add them. So subtract 125. So 11x equals 121, then divide by 11, and x is 11. Okay, so there's my X, so there's 11 dogs, okay, 11 packs of dog food, and then if the cats, I'd take 11 plus 25, and that's 36. Okay, now it slows down a little bit. You got to be careful on the next 2. An electronics store sells 70 of a new model of camera each month at a price of $320. For each $20 decrease in price, 5 more cameras per month are sold because it's cheaper, more people buy. The store will make more money if they decrease the price by $20 up to a certain point, after which they should stop. How many price changes will the store maximize revenue, and what is that maximum revenue? Now, when you're finding the maximum, if that's the answer to the problem, you make a giant parabola. and you have to find that top point. There's an x and a y. You have to know the formula to find the x. It is taking the opposite of b and dividing it by 2 times a. Now this is a revenue problem, not a gravity problem. So revenue equals the money I charge for the cameras times how many cameras I sell. I call it just items sold. Okay, so revenue is going to be our y variable. And then the money, I look that up. I have $320 and $20. Those both go in here. $320 is your beginning amount. And then read about the 20. It says decrease, so that's minus 20x. It's not plus. You're minusing 20 from the price. And you're minusing by 20 a bunch of times, maybe. You don't know how many times you do it because you go from 320 to 300 to 280 to 260 to 240. You don't know when you stop yet, so that's why the x is there. Items sold, you got 70 at the beginning. And then 5. Now, if that's minus, that's got to be plus. Because 5 more plus 5x. They can't both be plus. Okay, now this has to be multiplied out. Now, you can do the FOIL method. Or you can just plug that into Math Papa to avoid careless mistakes to wreck your problem. Okay, Math Papa Algebra Calculator. And on that Math Papa calculator, I'm going to take 320 minus 20x, that's my cost, multiply. You don't even have to put the multiplying operator. If you just put another parentheses, it knows it's multiplying. Then 70 plus 5x. Okay, and that's negative 100x to the second. Again, because you got to get this equation written, okay? Now, the hundred's negative. Don't forget that. You should end up with a negative in the front. That's your A. And then 200x, that's your B. And then 22,400, that's your C. Okay, so the opposite of B is going to be negative 200. And I take my 2 and multiply it by negative 100. So that's negative 200 and then divide, that's 1. So really you only drop it by $20 once. You drop it down to 300 and then that's the maximum revenue. Now I replace all the x's here with 1. And it's going to be 22,500. Just like I said. So your maximum revenue is $22,500. So you would want to charge $300 for a camera because you drop it by $20 once, and that gives you your maximum, the highest revenue you can earn given the situation of what's happening. Again, maximum, you draw a giant centered parabola, opposite of B divided by 2A finds the x, and then you plug that into the equation that gives you what the y equals. Okay, number 6. A baseball is hit with an initial upward velocity of 80 feet per second. It's hit from a height of 3 feet off the ground. How many seconds will the ball be caught at a height of 10 feet? So this is a parabola, but it's not a maximum. So you're going to need your 3 boxes. You're going to need a pretty big one down here because parabolas require a lot of work. So feet and seconds. X is defined, the times defined by x, and then y. So feet per second. And my feet per second is 80. Now there's a beginning and an end. So the beginning is where you launched it from. So that's 3 feet. And it doesn't land at 0 feet this time. It lands at a height of 10 feet. Okay. Actually, it'd be up higher, I guess, if you want to get particular. 3 feet's down there, 10 feet's here, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. Okay, so this is gravity. And you know, you got negative 16 there. Now your x is the velocity, 80x. And then the constant is your starting height of 3. equals y, but y is going to be replaced with 10 feet. Feet's a y value, so 10 takes the place of the y. Now you got to be careful on this one, okay? There are two answers because you can't combine the x's. That's to the second, and that's not. Now you are going to make your boxes, but first you got to get this 10 out of here because you need that to equal 0. And I can subtract 10 from 3. So it gives me negative 16x to the second plus 80x. 3 minus 10, you're minusing. I know that line there looks like it's dividing, but that's just me organizing the equation. 3 minus 10 is negative 7, and then here we have 0. Okay, so we have 3 terms, so go to your GCFT. Table. Now remember GCF, you check for 3 things. Okay. You are going to need a negative because your front number's the leading coefficient's negative. Okay, x you're not going to have because 7 doesn't have it. And then if you go to your GCF calculator, 16, 80, and 7, the GCF's 1. But since it's negative 1, I'm going to do it. Okay. That gives me positive 16x to the second minus 80x plus 7. So that's my ABC I want to use. Okay. So 16 times positive 7, 112. It's positive, so that would be a sum of 80. 80 is negative. 1 and 112 isn't it. 112 divided by 2 is 56. Well, 56 minus 2 is 54. That's too small to add, or you're adding, sorry, my bad. Okay, 2 plus 56 is 58. That's already too small to be 80, so that's a fail. As soon as you do the math and get a number smaller than 80, it's not going to work. Okay, so I use my quadratic formula. Opposite of b, plus or minus d square root. Double the parentheses, b squared minus 4a c, and then the bottom you have 2 times a. So the opposite of negative 80 is positive 80. Just cross it out, put 80. And then b itself is negative 80. To the second power, though, it'll turn it positive. Minus 4a, a is 16, and c is 7. Okay. And then the denominator, replace your a with 16. Now right away you take 16 times 2, that's 32. So you got your 80, you got your plus minus, you got 32. Now get rid of that square root. Figure out what it equals, approximate it. So second, x squared, one parentheses comes up on its own, but then you need a second one to do the negative 80. Close it. Hit the x squared key so it's to the second power, and then I subtract 4, 16, and 7. 7's positive this time. I'm used to having c be negative, but it's not. So 77.15. Okay, then you do your math. You take 80 plus 77.15. Remember to click equals after you do that operation, and then divide that by 32. So 4.91 is my first solution. And now I take my 80 and then I subtract 77.15 divided by 32. That's 0.09. Now I realize both of those are positives, but we want to pick the higher one. And the reason you got 2 positives is because it's also it crosses the 10 feet on the way up. And that's what the 0.09, but you want to find when it comes back around to 10, which is 4.91 seconds. Okay, last one, number 7. A town has a population of 5,000 people. A plant just closed up and the population figures to decrease by 5% per year. How many people will be in this town in 8 years? So I have 2 units. You need to make that box and analyze what's happening between the 2 units, people, and years. Okay, The time is X, and the people's Y. So per people per year. Well, the problem is you don't have people per year. What it is it's changing, but the rate of change is a percent. It's decreasing by 5%. Read the problem, and that's a minus 5%. So right away, I take 100% minus 5%. That's 95%. Okay. Now, when the rate of change is a percent, that's not repeated addition, so it's not a line, okay? It's not the b plus mxy line. That would be if you had people per year. Instead, you have percent, so you go to your exponent equation, okay? Because you would repeatedly multiply by a percent. So blank times blank, because I'm multiplying by this over and over, it's to the x power every year equals blank. Now, this is my percent factor. And these two blanks here are for the people. This is the original amount of people, and this is the new amount of people. Okay, so take care of your percent. You know it's 95, but you got to divide it by 100. Okay, and that's 0.95. Now the original amount of people, yeah, it's 5,000. And you're in for a little treat because x, you don't have to use log over log on this problem because x is years. Well, I have the number of years. It's 8. So you don't have to do anything because this is what you don't know. And that's all by itself. That's just waiting for you to plug that into your calculator to get here. Okay? You use a log over log when it's when you don't know what the x power is. Okay? So 5,000 times 0.95 to the power of 8 gives me 3,317. Now, we don't want to write the decimal because you're talking about people, and decimals and people don't really work. You can't cut people into parts, at least I hope not. So again, a little bit different there. Again, when you got the x power, that means you're going to have something to put there, and then you go x equals log over log, that's bottom. Okay, and then you divide by whatever the original amount is. Okay, and that's your top logarithm. But I didn't need that here because I knew what the x was.